Hello, everybody. David Donaldson here on another episode of Entrepreneurial Impact. Joe Martin won't be able to join us today, but I'm very excited. As you know, every now and then I like to go back into the past. I do have been in the business for a little bit of time, 17 years now. But today I have Barbie King with me. Now, Barbie has been in the business as long as I have. And I was fortunate enough that when I started and got my license in '07 in Arizona, that I joined an office, which was not a KW office at the time, but it was very, very much like what I have found here at KW going forward. Very collaborative, very open, right? Very friendly. We just had a great group of people, agents at the time in Arizona, working together. Within that organization. And I was fortunate enough to come across Barbie, who was open to me, brand new agent in the business. You were never officially my mentor, but essentially you were. You were somebody that I could go to, somebody that I could always ask questions of, somebody that allowed me to do open houses, and somebody that kind of taught me how, hey, that I may know how to work with people because I come from hospitality, but here's how that applies to real estate. Right. So let's just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what's going on and what you've been doing in this time. And then we'll kind of jump into the categories of what I want to focus on today, which really is about how to run a sphere-based business, but really focus on community.
Great. Well, thank you for inviting me, first of all, David. And you're right. We do go back several years. I think that I was first licensed in 2002. So back, kindergarten, I think, or first grade, I can't remember.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I did start with another company, and there were a lot of new people in the real estate business because things were booming in 2003, and that's when the market skyrocketed through, at least here, October of 05 is when we kind of peaked, and then we didn't know what to do with ourselves, kind of like what's happening right now. But I come from an interior design background, and when I got divorced, I was just looking for something that I could do to support myself and my son. And I decided to start flipping houses. So I got in with a group of investors, and then they would hire me as an interior designer to come in and spec carpet, paint, countertops, cabinets. And then during that process, people would come into the properties and they would ask, we want our friends to live next door, down the street, and how much is this house going to be? And I would sell the house, and then I would hand them off to usually the contractor's wife, and then they would do the deal, and I would get a gift card for, TGI Fridays or Applebee's or something.
Yeah.
And I thought, this has got to be something to this. So I did get my real estate license, and that's how I ended up in real estate. And within probably a year and a half, quit with the interior design and still continued to flip houses, but jumped in with both feet into real estate then. So, and that's where we met, maybe a year down the road or 2 years down the road, back in the day in Gilbert. So
That's right. Yeah, it was the Gilbert location there of Russ Lyon. I don't know if Russ Lyon is still on. I know they were acquired by another organization, but that's where our paths crossed. And it was a great experience, right? It really was. Like I said, as I led off, we had a great collaborative group of people in that office, and people that were willing to share and train, say, here's some best practices in here to do things. And what really attracted me to how you ran your organization at the time was your focus on community. Now you're in a master plan community where the price ranges vary from townhouse. They vary quite a bit from what they were back then, 05, 06, 07 to where they are now. But there was levels, right? There was entry level, there was townhouses, right? There was waterfront, there was step up homes, and then there were certainly luxury homes in that community. So you kind of ran the gamut, right? Yeah, I don't even remember what the total number in Val Vista Lakes was.
We have 2,200 individual properties, and it ranges from condominiums. We do have luxury townhomes that are in the 1.2 million range. And then we also have luxury houses. The largest house in here is just over 11,000 square feet. And then we have several gated communities. And then, we really do just run the gamut. And it's all built around a community clubhouse, tennis courts, swimming pools, lagoons, pickleball. There is a central community
It's the
attraction
buzzword, the
where we like
keyword of the now, right? Buzzword of now is pickleball.
Oh my gosh, I know, I know. I play. Ugh, I scratch the surface, but it is fun, and it certainly is something for all ages. My son is 25, and he plays, and then I have friends that are in their 80s that play. So that's kind of cool. Brings everyone together.
Well, that brings a sense of community, right? So getting into that now, what I don't know, I don't know if you were living in Val Vista Lakes at the time, right? So was that the neighborhood that you decided, hey, I'm in here? And I think like anything else, when we get into business, whether it's the neighborhood that we live in or the neighbors that we choose to say, hey, this is where I'd like to do business, we got to start somewhere. And there's usually a lot of times somebody else is kind of established in the community as well, right? So to grow a business instead of a farm, and I like community more than farm because I think it applies something a little bit differently. But how did you go about getting started in the community?
Well, I was blissfully ignorant, to be honest with you. I listed the house that I had is when I was married, and it was one of the higher end luxury homes. And at the time when I listed it, $200,000 more than I had bought it 2 years before that. And a lot of the neighbors came in, and a lot of the neighborhood experts did come in, and they just kind of looked at me as if, who are you? And why do you think you can get this for this house? No one has ever sold a house at this price. And I was one of the smaller homes, very much one of the smaller homes in there. So I didn't know what I didn't know. And that was a good thing. And I think my point is that if you're going to go into a new community or farm area, don't be intimidated by the agents who are the so-called experts. A lot of times they have been doing the same thing and they've become complacent. And so here I came and I looked at the numbers. I didn't have the preconceived notion of what that house should be worth after I owned it for 2 years. I strictly looked at the data. I looked at the upgrades. And I think at that time, it was just kind of reaching for the star type of a market. And, and I sold it, and I sold it for more than 200,000 so back in, 2002, 2003, that was a pretty good return on your investment. That was a chunk of change. So I would say to the new people, don't be intimidated because so and so has worked there. I had three of the top agents, one in Mesa, who you may remember, Charlie Randall. We became very good
Yeah.
friends. There was another female agent in here who lived in this area, and she was a great agent. And then our friends, Cindy Flowers and I live in the same neighborhood. She's been a longtime KW agent.
Cindy.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, if it wasn't for her just like reaching out to me and helping me, I don't know that I would have been able to do as well as I did. But there was a lot of not on purpose. Maybe it was just me being intimidated that I guess I was fortunate. I didn't know what I didn't know.
Awesome. So you sold that first house, right? Now, how did you get the name out there? And how did you grow? Like you've been successful, you've maintained that labor, and you took over a very large percentage of market share in that community. And that doesn't happen overnight. So how do you go from listing your own house, right? Figuring out I can do this to becoming brand aware within your community?
So very, very naive. Again, I had a golf cart, and I would get a new listing and I would make a flyer, and I would put the information on a half page. And honest to God, I had a double oven. I would bake cookies. I'd put them in these cute little bags, and I would go out with my son, and we would go door to door and give the information about a new listing in the development, or a new listing that I had. I don't remember who was the second person that took a chance on me. I would really have to think about that. But all of a sudden, I hit this unexpected number, and I think it got a lot of people's attention. So it was very simple. It was very walking the neighborhood. It was knocking on doors. It was introducing myself, and it was giving people something in exchange. So even though at the beginning it was very simple, it was it was cookies. That I would go to the neighborhood grocery store, and you could buy a big box of cookie dough and just bake cookies, and I didn't have to mix it up or anything. But anyhow, so it was door to door. It was sharing information, giving them something of value, albeit it was only a little bag of cookies, but who's going to say no to that? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um,
I think the key aspect is that it's door to door, right? You weren't now look 2002 wasn't the level of mass marketing that we kind of have become through email and social media and things like that, but it's a relationship based business. And you got out there in the golf cart and you started knocking on doors and introducing yourself. And I don't even care where we are today. I think that's the thing that still works.
it is. And David, you probably remember this when you came on our team, but graduated from that, and we used to do a pretty decent sized sticker with open house information on it. And I think one time I would go to this farmer's market I borrow my dad's pickup truck, and I'd load it with pumpkins, and then I'd put the sticker on it about the open house, and I'd go door to door and take everyone a pumpkin. Well, then we thought, pumpkins aren't going to work in February or July. So we bought the little watermelons, or we bought, so it kind of graduated from there. Like, what can we do? Because at the time we weren't using every door direct, but we were doing postcards, and a postcard campaign back then was still $1,000 or $1,200, 50 cents a piece.
Oh yeah.
So every time we wanted to do a just listed and then a just sold, it was another $1,200, another $1,200. So the door to door was a little less expensive for us. To be honest, I didn't have the budget that I have today.
Right. And I think that it gets lost on a lot of people, right? You found a way. You realize, hey, this is something that's important. I got to get it out there. Postage is expensive. Print's expensive. But you kind of touched on something there with the pumpkins. And I share that. And for me, it evolved in a lot of things, but things that I've done over time. But the pumpkins was my first experiences of what we'll call pop by, right? Whether you're a spirit-based business owner or you're a Buffini type of person. I joke a lot with a lot of people that are married to the Buffini systems. Like, he's been stealing our stuff for years, as far as I'm concerned, right? Those pop by, that relationship type of, right? But yes,
Yes.
delivering pumpkins, right? It's all how you bundle. He did a good job of packaging it right now. I jest, but it's that relationship model, right? But you touched on the things in the beginning, right? You gave something of value, which was information. You gave something of value, which was cookies. You gave something could have fun with it, identifiable with, which was pumpkins. If I remember, there was a lot of other things that followed. There was flags on the 4th of July with sparklers. There was pumpkins and watermelons. And hey, I remember, I don't know if people mail anything anymore, but there was price changes, and we would send out penny stamps because there were price changes and things.
Yes, in the price of
The
stamps.
amount,
We used to do that. Now, I
correct.
probably stole that from Buffini, to be honest with you, but we would go to the post office and we would feed that little machine, and it would spit out these adorable little
Mhm.
envelopes that we could actually put our information on. And then, if the postage stamp up 2 cents, of course, this isn't going to work today because nobody mails anything. They
Right.
just go online and bill pay, but we would take them door to door. Here's our 2 cents on the market. So we thought we were being so clever, but I guess the bottom line is, um, what would happen from that is people would begin to call me. And honestly, they would call me and say, hey, when are you delivering pumpkins? When, do you have any extra pumpkins? And instead of the first time I did this by mistake, I said, sure, I'll leave them out in my front yard. Come and pick them up. And then I thought, oh no, this is wrong. And so we decided, give me your address. I will bring you a pumpkin. So then that was time. It was a few minutes of my time, but it got me in front of their door, and it was an act of service because I brought it to them. So, when somebody's bringing you something, they're not going to slam the door in your face. So we've done pop buys with ice cream scoops. Like, here's the scoop on the real estate market. We've done the electrical charging cords for phones. These are very inexpensive items. You can order them in bulk through Amazon. And then we try and do the areas where we have the listing, and or the areas where we have buyers, which some areas are consistent that we have buyers. And so we started that at the beginning of my career. And this is funny. I'm going to show you something. So this is what I have here on my desk. It's a pop buy. And
Hold it up a little bit.
okay. So
there you go.
This is our fall pop buy. And so now Halloween is over, right? So let me just look and see which these are. Okay. So this is kind of a fall Bath and Body. I think these retail maybe $7.50, but we wait until, they go on sale, and I just order them in bulk, and Bath and Body delivers. I think I can only order 24 at a time. So I ordered, I try and get like 75 of these, and then I walk a neighborhood. So I end up paying less than $3 a piece for these. And we do these about every 2 months. So we've done candles, we've done ice cream scoops. We do these honestly probably 3 times a year. And
Awesome.
and we just do them wherever we've got a listing, or wherever we feel like we need to be more in with the neighbors. So with that, we have our market.
So I'm going to pause real quick for somebody that are just listening to on Apple or Spotify. What Barbie's kind of showing us, was her Popeye, a little orange basket, fall flavors with body wash, shampoo, lotion, all affordable. But what's happening is these things are being delivered in person, right? So it's that connection, it's that relationship, it's something of value, right, that they can use.
Yeah. And so I will get a phone call back. If nobody's home, I still leave it. And in that, I put the market information, and I put the data, our community versus the town that we live in versus the county. So I divide it up. I get a short synopsis, probably like you all do in an email or an e-letter. And then I take this letter and I also post it on our community social media pages, which we own. We admin, we admin pages.
So again, this is how far that you were ahead of the time there. Like, I remember your online presence, right? I remember your online communities, right? Because guys that are listening home, this predates 07, and 07 is when they launched Facebook. So that was before communities in Facebook. That was before business pages on Facebook. And Barbie had built an online presence for her community, right? And it was branded to the community where she was servicing the community.
Mm-hmm. So we didn't know what we didn't know, but for $6 I could buy domain names and tie them up for 5 years, I think at the time. And we bought, Val Vista Lakes Real Estate, Luxury Gilbert Properties. We just bought up. We didn't know what we were going to do with them. And then we were able to spend a lot of money at the time on websites. And I think my first website was $5,000. So at the time, that was a chunk of change, and it didn't have all the links that we have now, for people to search. Oh, yeah. And I'm not advising people to do that now. I'm sure no one's doing that because people already have the apps that they use. And we do quite well with the KW app. We use that. We don't make flyers for our open houses. Maybe some of our luxury ones we will, but we have that app at our fingertips, and that is instant. And it has more information than we would ever be able to touch with a flyer. You know, it's all the photos on that KW app. So that's been a really strong tool for us. I wish there was a better tracking on that, but yeah, so it was door to door, and it still is. So one of our Facebook
Right.
pages.
Thanks for tying that back, right?
Wow.
Technology changes, the systems or the deliverables may change or get enhanced.
Hmm.
But what has maintained and stayed the same is the door to door relationship communication,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And when you get ingrained in your community. Now you shared a picture. I'm just going to bring that picture back up again. That was on your phone, right? When
Oh,
you're ingrained and known, right, and you service your community, you get little things like the text photo that you got last night.
so last night I saw this come through on my phone, and it was somebody that was out trick or treating, and their daughter was dressed as Taylor Swift, and then her little boy was dressed as Taylor's bodyguard. And so here they've sent me a picture of my real estate sign with the kids standing in front of it, just a hey, thinking of you, hope you're doing great. And here's a picture of my kids. So, of course, I take the picture and I put it on Facebook, and hope that everyone had a safe night. And I'll probably also tie it into some type of a follow up to Halloween or going in to Thanksgiving. So we ran into a little bit of a roadblock with COVID, like everyone else, and that that changed what's between the ears for me. Um, we were always willing to give something in these pot pies, but what I began to see was that people were isolated, people were hurting, people were suffering financial losses because they weren't working. So we had our favorite restaurants and bars that had musicians, and we knew that they weren't working. And we knew of one particular one that he was also a professor at MCC, Mesa Community College, and he wasn't working. And I thought, wow, maybe we hire him because we live on the lake. We hire him to come and play a concert in our backyard on the lake. And we just put out on our social media that we're going to have this concert. And we thought maybe 8 or 10 neighbors would join and come by. We had, I don't know, I'm going to say 30 boats. We had kayaks. We had stand up paddle boards. We had helicopters. We had helicopters over
Holy cow.
the house. It was crazy. And they were on their microphone, and it was really funny. So, out of trying to help others, it changed my thinking towards, rather than marketing to the community, how can I help my community? How can I contribute to make this better? So then a neighbor held a concert in their backyard, and another neighbor on another lake, and then we had the helicopters up above the house again. Um, the news media reached out. Um, we hosted chalk drawing contests, and Garrett and I just went to Walmart and bought the entire end cap of chalk, driveway chalk, and we just delivered it to people. And rather than, having like one central pickup place, we could have left it at the
Yeah.
clubhouse. And we said, oh, no, 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 we'll bring it to you. So that was nice. We got to meet people, and then we sponsored, and other agents and other people in the community offered to go in on the prizes. And so then that was a huge success. And when I began to think more about what can I do to my community, that was like the highest level that we could get to, I think, with farming. And it meant so much more to me. and rather than knowing my neighbors, I became friends with my neighbors. You know, it was a deeper relationship. So, and I
Yeah.
no longer had to market us. My neighbors marketed us. If, you know, they said, thank you to King and Associates. Thank you, Barbie King, for dropping off the chalk. Thank you, Barbie, for the concert. So that has only expanded. Um, we have sponsored the Rose Garden. So we still take pumpkins, but what we do is we do take them to the Rose Garden, and I'll, you know, deadhead roses for an hour on a Saturday morning, you know, a couple weekends, and have the pumpkins there. And people say thank you or post a picture of their pumpkin and thank you, Barbie King, or thank you, King and Associates. So it has turned, it's done a 180 where we're not the ones always out there. It's our neighbors.
Perfect.
So kind of cool.
Well, and I just want people to understand that this was an evolution over time, right? You kept
Yeah.
trying different things and everything worked gradually, right? And then it's, slowly, then suddenly. And then you make that connection and then you have impact, right?
Yes.
So there is no wrong way to go about this. The right way is just coming from contribution and talking to people. And all the things, look, you live in a waterfront community, but imagine changes like, hey, instead of have a boat tour around my community for lights, I have a hayride around my community, or different things that you can do that apply to where you live and where you are. Right? You just got to know your audience. You got to know the neighborhoods. You got to. I think things have gotten cold over time because the ability for us, our outreach is magnified. But boy, at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you can really double down on those relationships just on a completely different level and layer those other things on top of it. But when you connect with the right people for the right reasons, business finds you.
Yes, it does. And we don't have to be the ones, uh, you know, yelling from the treetops or the mountaintop, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. Other people are promoting what we're doing. Other people are sharing it with their neighbors. So where we used to spend, you know, maybe $1,200 on a postcard campaign 2 to 3 times a month, we're not doing that anymore. We just sponsored a concert with Steve Chater's band
Look
on
at that.
Friday night. Yeah, it was great. You know, he's played on stage with Gary Keller and Bud Bud Gregg was in the band. So we probably had 125 people there, and everyone was dancing and singing. It's a cover band, so that was really nice. It brings the community together. Um, you know, just the things that we have done are more coming from fostering community and more of a genuine, how can we help? How can we give back? When we have made our living in this community, I have put my son through, you know, junior high and high school and ASU and paid my bills and through.
That all bothers me. I'm just going to say that all bothers me right now to think of Garrett being 25 years old. I just want to say.
Yeah. Well, he's in real estate too now. We're going to make our first family reunion in Las Vegas, which that'll be a first for him. So that'll be interesting if he drinks the Kool-Aid.
Well, I will be there for that for sure.
Good.
And I really appreciate you joining us today. Just when this topic came up, you were formative to my business building initially. So I thought this would be a great topic. So I really appreciate you joining us today. And I love that how you just continue to modify and adapt to what's going on around you and just being present and relevant for your community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's always good to see you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in. I was just up in your neck of the woods to see the fall colors, but thank you for inviting
So you were
me.
leaf
And
peeping.
what's that?
Yes, you were leaf peeping.
Yes, I'm a leaf peeper. That was fun. But thank you for having me. And I just think the one thing that I hope is that people will realize, don't be intimidated by what somebody else is doing, or that you can't take over that market, or you can't become first of mind in that market. Just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely. That's right. Hey guys, there you go. You heard it from Barbie Shuff. Just do it. Just get started and build those relationships
Yep.
and come from contribution. That's it. Well, anyways, thanks everybody for listening to another episode of Entrepreneurial Impact, and we'll see you next time.